I wanted to show in a quick video why China is destroying the United States. No, I do not believe that China is the next great superpower. Their economy is in shambles, their inflation rate's through the roof. They're a paper tiger. But I show you how they're destroying our lives in the process. This is a fan bearing out of a 98 Dodge Cummins. Goes in the fan hub. It has failed. You can tell. Here's the direct replacement. So, let's say your NSK bearings. These people. Not saying they did this, but they did. You want to make money off of this, so you're selling this bearing to people when it fails. It's not a real high failure item, even on the higher mileage trucks. I mean, it's not something that just fails all the time. But you've got some stocked as a company, and you're going to sell them to people if they need them. So this is used on any 5.9 Cummins, 6.7 Cummins, any Cummins engine for a long time. You're talking about like a 30-year time span. So you got a good part here that you can sell for 30 years. This bearing was originally made by NSK, as I said, I think. Well, you cross the number after you press this out, and it comes back to a $200 to $300 bearing for some reason. And well, that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. So, go on Amazon, and I find this. Looks cheap. In the pictures, the ad isn't all that good, but it's $25. And I said, what the heck, we'll try it. Well, it shows up, and guess what? It's labeled as a ZXY bearing, but the part number is exactly the same and crosses directly, literally the same part number as the new NSK bearing. But it only pulls up that new bearing when you search this number, not the number on this. When you search this number, it brings up the new NSK bearing that is only $30. So then I started putting two and two together. You got this bearing. You're producing it in America for, let's say, $5. Let's just pull a number out of my butt here. You're selling it for $30. Well, you look at China and you go, hey, we'll just send them the specs, let them make it. They can make this for 25 cents. Bring it back to the US, we'll sell it for $30. With shipping and costs and everything, let's say it costs you 25 cents a bearing to make. You're making a killing compared to spending $5. Your profit margins are way greater. Well, now China starts making this with your NSK stamp not on it, and they're selling it under a different bearing name. They're making it with the same manufacturing process out of the same factory using your dimensions, your technology. They take it, they reverse engineer it. They are now producing this, well, not reverse engineer it, that you sent them engineering data so they can make it for you. Well, now they're selling it directly to the American people through Amazon, eBay, online stores. Same bearing, same factory, same part number, except they're selling it for $25. So you, losing all of your profit margin, have to make this bearing $200. Now imagine they do that with everything. Every single thing that we're having manufactured in China. That's what they're doing. So not only do you as an American go, oh my gosh, I'm tired of spending hundreds of dollars on these little things, and over again, this truck's costing me so much money to fix, and I ain't got time for it anymore. I'm just going to sell it and buy a new one. Now the U.S. automotive industry is like, yeah. So they're on board with it. They're happy with it. American companies are greedy of it. So they make it work. They make their money on the back end. They go, well, if we keep charging $200 for a $25 bearing and we overcharge for everything, and that's what shows up when you look for the bearing, or whatever part you're looking for, then, hey, people are going to get tired of spending that much money fixing up an old car. They'll just buy a new one. So they don't complain about it. A lot of American industry doesn't complain about it. You think the United Auto Workers are going to go picket at their factory so that Americans can afford bearings and parts for their cars? No, they're going to go picket so they can get more money, and so the U.S. automotive industry won't sell more cars. So they're on board with it. So we're getting doubly screwed as the American people because of corporate greed. Now, let's take it back a step. I'm not a socialist. I am not I'm not really even pro-union. The point is that American companies don't suffer from this. Because the average person that's going to fix their car no matter what, they're going to buy the $250 bearing. Then a lot of mechanics come along, they know what they're doing, know how to cross-reference parts, and they're able to find the cheap Chinese one. That turns out it's the same bearing that you're going to buy for $200. So, long story short, China's ripping off the American auto industry and the American people. The United States companies are fine with it because they're just going to put a 200% or 100% markup on all their parts that they're importing from China so that they can now make their profits back because China is undercutting them by selling the same dang thing. The moral of the story is they're doing this with cell phones. They're doing this with bearings. They're doing this with equipment that the average person uses. Sometimes, mostly, it's the average person's not going to see it. The average person is not going to be replacing the bearing in their 98 Dodge truck. The average person is not going to be dealing with that. So, the average person remains blind to us getting ripped off by China and doesn't understand all the adversity towards China. They're like, well, they're not bothering us. They're doing pretty good, you know. Blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. They are actively an enemy of the United States. Has a large part to play with why we got involved in Iran. We're not going to get into that. Don't care your opinion on the matter, but we're at war with China through Iran, whether you want to admit that or not. Moral of the story is, you can get away with buying some stuff from China because of this. They're making the product anyway. So when you order it from an American company, let's say you order through Dorman or something like through AutoZone, you're going to get the same electric fan that a Chinese company is throwing together and selling on Amazon for half the price. But sometimes you'll get a seal kit or something like that, and they'll be slightly wrong. And it will cost you dearly. You'll tear an entire piece of equipment apart, put an entire brake system together, and then the brakes fail because the seals were a couple thousandths off. Because they were copied in China without the original manufacturer's permission, and they're wrong. So sometimes you get burned, sometimes you don't. Well, think of all the thousands, millions of dollars that are wasted every year from buying parts from a reputable source in China that turn out to be bad. So they're fighting economic warfare on that front. The man hours, the money that you waste, the money that the companies waste, it compiles into millions. And on the other side of that, they're genuinely making a good product. And they're underselling the American people. So, we're getting burned by our own companies, we're getting burned by China, and we're getting burned by the U.S. automotive industry as a whole. Everybody knows this. It's an unspoken thing. Some people are vocal about it. Some people aren't. But this merited a video. This $25 bearing is the exact same bearing that is a direct replacement for this that's $250. And that's stupid. Shouldn't happen. And hopefully in the future, it will help you decide what to buy. Don't take my advice. Do your own research. But this is ridiculous.